Good morning, students. This is MCM 111, and this is travel journalism. In our last class, we were trying to establish the functions of the 5Ws and H in writing, a travel, journalism news story. As a travel, journalist or aspiring journalist or a student journalist. Now, we're trying to establish the importance, the significance of news story as far as a travel, journalist is concerned. How can you, use the skills of a travel journalist deploying the 5Ws and H in writing your news story? And as an extension to that topic, today we'll be looking at the lead, which is the introductory part of a story. Now we'll be looking at the lead, the function of the lead in a news story. As a travel journalist, how do you open your story where you are able to capture the fundamental aspect of the lead in that story? Now, by way of definition, a lead is the first paragraph of a news story that summarizes the entire story. So, as a travel journalist, the expectation is for you to have a strong lead that will give the readers the main gist of the news story. So you must be able to write that story in such a way that the lead must, arrest the attention of the readers. It must, be able to summarize the entire event. It must be able to, give a kind of a captivating, attention within the context of the story. So your lead should be clearly stated. It must be appealing, it must be captivating, it must be well structured or written in such a way that it can give, the entire summary of the news story. As a travel journalist, you often expose yourself to different locations. And how can you come up with a story that is so appealing to the readers, to the audience? And that is why the lead is very, key. It is very fundamental in this regard. So, Stouffer, 2015 established that one of the most fundamental aspects of a news story is the lead, because the ability for the, writer to, articulate properly the news within the context of the lead is very essential. So if I pick your news story, at a glance, I should be able to look at the first paragraph of the news story, and I should be able to deduce or to take home or to be able to tell that yes, this is the entire gist of the news story. The first paragraph should be precise, it should be concise, it should be accurate and briefly stated. Perhaps maybe not more than 35 words. The first paragraph should not be so lengthy. 35 words, it's okay for you to be able to summarize the entire ideas of the news story in the intro or the opening paragraph. Then in the subsequent paragraph, you can be able to now bring out other vital points that will help to advance the news, or will help to establish a kind of supporting ideas that will further strengthen the entire news story or the entire gist within the context of a news story. So, as a travel journalist, for you to be able to write a good news that has to do with any location or any place that you might have been at that point in time, is the ability for you to capture your lead. Remember the assignment I just gave you to write a kind of an article on any of your choice on any topical issue in any country, especially on the economic hardship of that particular country. Now, if I pick that assignment, I should be able to, by reading your first paragraph of the news, I should be able to get the gist, the main idea, the main message that you are trying to put across. That could be very fundamental. So that is why today's topic is very topical, and it's very essential as far as a travel journalist is concerned. Now, perhaps one may be interested to ask, what are the functions of lead in a story? For example, the lead summarizes the entire story. It gives the reader the main gist in a summary form. By reading the lead alone, you should be able to know that yes, this is what the entire news story is all about. But when you don't have a lead that summarizes the entire story, it becomes challenging as a reader for you to understand what the writer or the travel journalist is trying to pass across to the readers. Now, another function of lead is it answers the question raised by the 5 W's and H. What are the 5 W's and H? The where, the when, the what, the why, the who, and how. So the lead will help you to answer this question, even though in some lead story it might not be possible for all the 5 W's and H to appear in that context, but more often than not, sometimes the first paragraph should be able to, at least if it cannot accommodate the entire 5 W's and H, it should be also be able to have at least 3 of them in the first opening paragraph of that particular story. So lead helps you to answer these questions that are raised within the context of the 5 W's and H. Now, another function of the lead is that the lead must also emphasize the news feature. It tells you, the expectation is it gives you a kind of the news feature that that particular news, encompasses. Then another function of the lead is the lead must also furnish, the readers with the identification needed for clarity. When we talk about person, places, events, all these things must be clearly articulated or stated, so that it will create no doubt in the minds of the readers or the audience, so that when they pick the copy of your news story as a travel journalist, you are able to identify where did the event take place, at what point in time, which time, and which who and who is involved. All those kind of things should be able to give a reader a kind of a pre-assumption that yes, this is what the news entails. So by doing this, you can furnish it, you give them accurate places, incidences, or what actually happened, the event. So the lead can help you to capture all these things. The lead also suggest or give authority to which the news is written. For documentary, for example, the documentation of the credibility of a news story can be well established. In this context, the credibility will be based on the competence of the writer, his dynamism, relevance, and the truthfulness of the particular story. So the essential component or element to achieve credibility in this context is based on the writer's competence, relevance, dynamism, and truthfulness. Now, another function of the lead is that it attracts the readers to read the story from the beginning to the end, because the first paragraph has already established that kind of interest, because by the time you pick and read the first paragraph, and it is interesting, it is captivating, it is enchanting, it is stimulating, and it is pulling you into the story, then you have all the interest to read it from beginning, middle to the end of the story. And another function of the lead is also give the readers the entire essence of reading the story, because it gives you the first gist of the story in the first paragraph. So thank you very much for being part of today's class. In our subsequent classes, we'll also be discussing topical issues within the context of travel journalism. Thank you very much for being part of today's class. Hope to see you in the next class. Thank you very much.